All right, so we are live. So good morning, everybody. Once again, my name is Joshua Corzantes. I've been working with Therap for about 3 years, and I've been in the IDD industry for about 15 years. I'm based out of Los Angeles, and I actually used to run 7 programs down here in LA. So glad to be on board here with Therap and glad to be working with you all. Okay, so the best part about Therap is that it is completely accessible via web, meaning you do not need to install any sort of software or anything onto your devices. All you need to do is have an active internet connection, and then you will be good to go. In order to access our website, you will want to go to www.therap, T-H-E-R-A-P, services.net. Once you go there, you'll be taken to our homepage, which we'll talk a little bit about some of the help you can get from here in a bit. But then we're going to go ahead and log into the system. To securely log into the system, you'll see the secure login up at the very top right of your screen. Now, you guys have a couple options when it comes to this. You can go ahead and follow along. You can open up a web browser and bounce back and forth between the meeting and your browser, or you can follow along and then refer to our help and support materials, which will be available to you guys later on. So it's entirely up to you. We just want to make sure you are getting the correct information. So if you are going to follow along, go ahead and click the secure login up at the very top right. This will take you to our Therap login page. And there are 3 pieces of information that will log you securely into the system. Number 1 is you will have your unique login name. And number 2, you will have your own unique password. By having your own unique login name and password, you will create your electronic signature in the system, and you will not need to no longer have a wet signature on your SIRs for Far Northern Regional Center. The third information that will log you into the system securely is what we call a provider code. A provider code is what makes your system your system. You are not logging into an account for the entire country, not even for Far Northern Regional Center. You're logging into your own private agency account, which was established for you. For those of you following along, you can go ahead and type in your login name that was given to you by Leah in the chat message. Or if you have a login name established by somebody else, you can go ahead and enter that information there. Then you will want to enter the password given to you by Leah. You will go ahead and change this once we log in. And you will also want to enter the provider code given to you by Leah. I'll go ahead and give you guys a minute to do that. And if at any time you guys have any questions, feel free to type them into the chat box, and one of the 3 of us will get to you as soon as we can. Once you log into the system securely, you'll be asked to change your password. You'll go ahead and enter the current password that was provided to you by Leah, and then create a new password of your liking twice. Your minimum is that it has to be at least 6 characters long. All right, Kathy, you're going to go ahead and see your login information there in the chat box. It was sent to you by Leah in a private message, so it should appear in red. Or Harold, sorry. Once you log into the system securely, you'll see a page that looks just like the one I'm on now. Harold, if you scroll up on your chat just a little bit, you should be able to see it. All right, Gail, go ahead and make sure that you are entering the correct information that was given to you. If you still keep getting a login failed, let us know again, and we'll make sure we help you out. And once you guys log in successfully into the system, you're going to see a page just like the one I'm on. Harold, once you go to www.therapservices.net, you can go ahead and click the secure login up at the very top right. You'll see my mouse hovering over it right now. All right, great. Looks like everybody's almost logged in. So what you guys are looking at now, for those of you that are on this page, is our home page for the system. We at Therap call it the dashboard. Anytime you wish to get back to this dashboard, up at the very top left there, you'll see the dashboard button next to the Therap logo. You can click on that, and it'll bring you right back on over here. On the left here, where it says to do, individual, admin, agency reports, and settings, these are navigational tabs that'll take you to different parts of the system. We're going to be working primarily in our admin tab to start off this call. So you guys should already be on your admin tab. Then here in the middle, you can see all the different modules available to you. The first thing we need to set up in the system is what we call sites and programs. Now let me go ahead and explain this to you. And then if you need further clarification or have a specific situation, feel free to chat that in the type box and we'll help you out as best we can. Sites in the system are physical locations, something with an address. Programs are programs within a site. So for example, if I have a main office which houses a day program, an ILS program, an SLS program, and a behavior program, I'm going to want one site but 4 programs. If I provide residential services, each house is going to have one site and its corresponding program. And we'll go ahead and create each and every single site there in the system. All right, so in order to create a site, what we want to do is scroll down in that first general section, and you will see site. What we want to do is click new, and you'll be taken to the Create New Site page. Here, we're going to enter our site name. So if you're at Holly House or at Oakland House, you can go ahead and enter that name there. If you have multiple programs within your agency, you can go ahead and give this a site name for that as well. I'll go ahead and call this my main office. Next, you have site ID, site code, and cost center number. This is not relevant to far northern vendors, so you guys do not have to worry about this. And then you could just skip to the street section and enter your address. Please keep in mind for your phone numbers, you want to enter it straight through with no dashes or parentheses. And when you're done, if you only have one site to enter, you can click Save. If you have multiple to enter, you can save and create new. You can also do the rest of these later as well. Once you guys are done, we can go ahead and go back to your dashboard. All right, next what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and create my programs for my sites. Just above site, you'll see program. What we want to do now is go ahead and click new. The first thing you want to do here is go ahead and enter your program name. Keep in mind a couple things here. This can be the same name as your site, number one. If you have a certain house name, you can go ahead and call this the same as your site name. Also, please keep in mind that this is what you will need to click on if you have multiple programs in order to get to the individuals that will be linked to this program. So if I have a day program, I can go ahead and enter day program here. Next, you have a program type. You can go ahead and click the drop-down box, and then you can choose your program type here. They are in alphabetical order, so you can go ahead and find those there. Also, if you do have a specific program type that we do not have, you're more than welcome to put that in the chat box and we'll get that added for you. Next, what we're going to do is go ahead and tie this program to our site. So for your site name, you can click from the drop-down box and then tie this back to your site. After that, you have program ID. Now your program ID, you will want to enter your RC vendor number here. It's where you enter your regional center vendor number. For your program code and cost center numbers, these are not relevant to Far Northern Regional Center, so you can go ahead and skip these. What you want to do now is go ahead and go to your program contacts, and then you can enter a primary contact and a secondary contact if you have one. Once you're done, you can go ahead and save if you just have the one program, or save and create new to create more than one. And once you're done and you saved and create new, you can go ahead and go back to your dashboard. Okay, great. Now what we're going to want to go ahead and do is admit our individuals into the system. Now Far Northern went ahead and added all the clients that you serve into your system. Please keep in mind, in order to do this next piece, you will have to create at least one site and program in order to enroll somebody into it. So our individuals will be in our admin tab. If we scroll down to the next section that says care, you will see individual intake. Under individual intake, they will all be under pending admission. When you click on pending admission, you'll go ahead and see the names of all the clients that you serve. What we will need to do is click on the name of one of the clients. This will take you to this individual's face sheet. Once on this page, we need to scroll down just a tad to the next section that says active program and site information. You will then need to click edit program enrollment. When you do that, it will take you to a list of all the sites and programs that you've created. Now you need to tell the system what program this person belongs to. You will want to click the word enroll to the right to enroll this person in the program. Please keep in mind, if your individual is enrolled in multiple services within your agency, you can enroll them in as many programs as they belong. When you click enroll, it will take you to an enrollment date. Please note that this date is not mandatory that you keep. If you keep track of enrollment dates in another place in your organization, that's fine. You can use today's date. Just keep in mind that you cannot document an SIR on any individual prior to enrollment date. Then you will click enroll, and it will now show that this person is enrolled in this program. Once you're done, you can click save at the bottom. Now as you scroll down on their face sheet, you will see that this person is enrolled in day services. The last thing you need to do is scroll all the way down to the bottom. And down at the bottom in the yellow bar, you will see the admit button. This will admit this person into your system. When you click admit, it will ask you for admission date. Once again, you do not need to keep track of the actual dates in the system if you have this somewhere else. And once you enter an admission date, you can click done. Once you click done, you will get a message that this person was successfully admitted into the system. Now they are ready to have SIRs documented. If you have multiple individuals to admit, you can go back to your dashboard up at the very top left, and you can keep going till you get to your last individual. Next, we need to set up levels of access in the system. We at Therap call these super roles. On my admin tab, I'll see super role. Super role essentially means how far can someone get when documenting. So if you wish to have your direct support staff simply submit SIRs for your approval before they get sent off to Regional Center, you can do so. Or if you only have one person submitting SIRs to Far Northern, we only need to create one. Under super role, I'm going to go ahead and click manage. If you have previously attended a training, you will see that you already have some super roles there. These do not need to be recreated, and you only need to create one. If you have not attended a training, you can go ahead and click Create New Super Role. On the Super Role page, the first thing you will need to do is give this Super Role a name. Please keep in mind Super Roles are not title dependent, but you can make these title dependent if you wish. And if a certain amount of people use the same Super Role, you can assign the Super Role to every person you want. I'm going to call mine administrators, so that way I know that this is the role I will assign to all administrators. Next, you will see various checkboxes. For Far Northern, we only need to worry about one. Your second row checkboxes to the right, you will see General Event Reports. This is Therap Talk for Special Incident Reports, and this is where you will be documenting all your SIRs. You will see that you have a variety of roles associated with this. So if you're creating the administrator role, the administrator will have all access, so you can assign all roles. But I will explain these one by one so you understand what each means. The first one is GER Witness. If you enable this, when writing an incident report, you will have the ability to select another staff member from the system as a witness. In turn, that witness will have to write what we call a witness report. Please note, number one, that this is not required by Far Northern Regional Center. Number two, please note that you cannot approve, therefore send off your incident report to Regional Center until the witness writes their witness report. Most agencies have chosen not to use this. Also, please note, you will want to make sure you have this off if you choose not to use this in any future roles you create. Next, you have GER Submit. GER Submit allows you to submit an incident report for somebody else's approval. Please keep in mind this is interagency and before Far Northern can see it. Next, you have GER Edit. This allows the person the ability to edit a submitted report. Next, you have GER Review. This will allow a person to click off a box that's saying they reviewed this report prior to approval. So if you have a middle manager or a lead staff that reviews direct support staff's reports before going to administrators for approval, you may want to assign them this role. Next, you have GER Approve. Approve means that your report is final and Far Northern Regional Center will now be able to see it. And it is broken off into three. We have Approve, which allows you the ability to approve all reports except for med-error and death. Next, you have GER med-error Approve. This gives this user the ability to approve incident reports involving med-errors and death approve. Next, you have GER View. This gives you the ability to view all approved incident reports. Next is GER Follow-Up. GER Follow-Up allows you to be able to follow up back and forth between service coordinators once an incident report has been approved. You will have the ability to engage in a conversation with service coordinators from Far Northern Regional Center with this role. Next is GER delete. This will give you the ability to delete an incident report. Last is GER abuse, neglect, exploitation. This gives you the ability to view any incident reports which someone has marked as whether abuse, neglect, or exploitation were suspected. Please keep in mind that the abuse, neglect, exploitation role is brand new to the super role section. It was previously in another section assigned per user. This is not active yet, as we're letting agencies the ability to choose who will have this or not. Once completed, you can scroll down to the bottom and click Save. You will see that you just saved your super role into the system. Now we can go back to our dashboard. Next, we're going to show how to enter all your different agency titles into the system. If you note at the very top, next to your name, you will have our default title of admin. If you wish, you can enter your title here or add any subsequent titles that you may have. Here in your admin tab, the second one down is user. To the right, you will see titles. When you click on titles, you'll see a list of all the titles that are in your agency. In order to create a new one, you will want to click Create New Title. Here, you can simply enter the title of anybody whom you wish. If you wish to create multiple, you can click Save and Create New. If you only wish to do one, you can click Save. You will then get a message that your title was successfully saved. Once you've created all your titles, you can go back to your dashboard. Next, I'm going to show you how to enter staff into your system. Please note that you do not need to create a user account for yourself, as you already have a user account created by us. But if you wish to have other staff write incident reports, then you will need to enter them in as users into your system. You will want to go to User and click New. Here, you will enter the first name of your staff that you wish to get into the system. Then last name. Then you can enter user initials for this person. Please keep in mind that user initials can only be used once. So if I have another TS in the system, I would not be able to use these initials. You can always check to see if it is available by clicking Check Availability to your right. Here it is telling me that TS is not available. So I can either add a middle initial, add a number, or choose from one of the available ones here. Next, you will assign a login name for this person. We at Therap advise you to keep login names uniform. That way, it is easier to search in the future. You were given the default of first initial last name. You can feel free to use that, or you can choose something else. It is up to you and your organization. Then, you will enter a temporary password for this person. Once they enter the system, they will go ahead and change their password just like you did. If this password is less than 6 characters, you have the ignore password policy after that. This gives you the ability to ignore the password policy for your agency for this temporary password once. Your time zone will already be set for you. Under account settings, this is already set up for you and you do not need to touch anything here. You will then go to the employer work information. Here, you will assign this person a title. If you wish to keep track of employee ID numbers or hire dates in the system, you're more than welcome to do so, but these are not mandatory. Once you're done, you can go ahead and click Save. You will then be taken to the personal details section for this person. Please note, this information is optional to keep track of in the system, and you don't need to if you have this information somewhere else. But if you wish to, you're more than welcome to do so here. You can scroll to the bottom and click Save. Once you click Save, you will get a message that this user was successfully updated. You can then go back to your dashboard. Now that we have our users created, we need to tell the system what super role each user is going to have and what individuals they're going to have access to. In order to do that, you want to go to User Privilege, the fifth one down from the top, and click Manage. Keep in mind that you will need to do this for yourself as well. You can click on your login name here in order to access your user privileges. On your user privilege page, you'll see your name, title, and login name. The first thing we need to do is assign a super role. Here where it says super role, you can click the word and then choose a super role you created by clicking the word choose. Next, you will need to assign yourself a caseload. This is telling the system what clients you're going to have access to in your system. If you click Add Caseload, you'll see a list of caseloads. Currently, caseloads are broken down by two. First is your all individual caseload. This will give you access to all individuals in your system, past, present, and future, meaning you will also have access to anybody you've marked discharged or deceased. APC caseloads are broken down by programs that you've created. This will give you access to all active individuals in a given program. If you have any specific caseloads in your agency, meaning you only want to give access to 1, 2, or 3 or more individuals from within a given program and not an entire program, please contact us and we'll be more than happy to assist you in creating these. If you wish to have access to all individuals, you can choose the AIC caseload and click Add. Once you assign a super role and a caseload, you will scroll down to the bottom. Here, under Common Roles, you will simply want to make sure that you enable GER abuse, neglect, exploitation, as this will give you access to any GERs related to abuse, neglect, or exploitation. Once you do that, you can click Save at the bottom. When you click Save, you will get a message that the privilege has been saved and your new privileges are currently in effect. You can then go back to your dashboard. Once you create your users and assign user privileges, they will be ready to document an SIR on an individual in your agency. In order to document an SIR, we will need to get out of our admin tab and into our individual tab. Under individual tab, you will see General Event Reports, or GER for short. This is Therap terminology for Special Incident Reports. Before we look at a live SIR, I wanted to show you where you can practice in the system entering a fake SIR. You will do this by going into your Settings tab. In your Settings tab, you will see the word Test Mode. Under Test Mode, you can click On. You will then see your screen turn a yellow color on each side, and you will have a Test Mode above your dashboard button. This is the system's way of letting you know you are in test mode. This is a practice mode. Keep in mind that any SIRs entered here will not be seen by Far Northern Regional Center. So this is a good practice place for you guys to come in and practice your SIRs before submitting live ones to Far Northern. Now we can do a practice SIR. We can go to our individual tab, and we will see GER, and we can then click New. Here, you will see a list of all the individuals you serve in your agency. Keep in mind, if you have multiple programs within your agency, you will need to select the program first. Then you will see the individuals enrolled in that program. You simply need to click the last name of the individual on whom you wish to document. You will then be taken to our General Event Reports page, or GER for short, which is Far Northern's SIR. Under Profile Information, you will see the individual's name and program and site they're enrolled in. Next, you have Report Date, which is the date this was reported to you. Since this is test mode and just a practice SIR, I'm going to go ahead and say that Emma tripped and fell and acquired a cut that needed 2 stitches on her way to the restroom. And I'll say that I observed this, and it happened at 8 a.m. this morning. Next, we have the event information section. The event information is defaulted to today, but if this happened on yesterday or any other day, you can go ahead and change the event date if needed. Next, if not at the responsible program, meaning if this didn't happen in their program, or rather your program, where did this occur? You can choose whether this happened in the community, at home, in the vehicle, on a family home visit, etc. Since mine happened in the home, I'll go ahead and leave that off. Next, you have describe what happened before the event. Here, you will list any antecedent or precipitating factors to the event. So in my case, Emma was simply walking to the restroom. Next, you have location address. If this happened at your program, you can click the same as program address box, and your address information will populate for you. If not, you can enter it manually if you wish. Next, you will need to add your event. Now you have 6 categories to choose from. You have injury, med error, restraint related to behavior, restraint other, death, and other. Other contains hospitalization, AWOL, property destruction, assault, etc. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and click injury to document the cut on her knee. When you click an event, you'll get a new window that opens up that will ask you for more information regarding that event. Here, I will need to enter my injury type. Next, I will enter my injury cause. In my case, she received a cut that was caused by a fall. Next, the system asks me whether this event was observed or discovered. Did I see this happen, or did I find out about it? Please note that anything with a red asterisk is mandatory. So if I chose discovered, you will want to enter your time of discovery. If you observe this, you enter the time of injury. Next, you have the option of letting the system know the specific location in which this occurred. In my case, this occurred in the hallway. Next, you will note down treatment required. If no treatment required, you can select none. If the individual provided their own first aid, you can choose self. If family provided first aid, there's family. Anybody at your agency is staff. Did they have to see a nurse, a doctor, or go to the hospital? In my case, we went to the hospital as this requires stitches. Next, you will enter your time of treatment. You also have the option of adding a treatment date if it was different than the event date. Next, you have the injury size. Please note a couple things when it comes to injury size. Number one, it is not mandatory. And number two, it is in centimeters and millimeters. Next, you have injury color. So if you have a rash or a suspicious bruise you wish to keep track of, you can enter that color there. Then you have injury severity. Since severity is perception-based, we categorize this for you. If there was no treatment needed, this is very minor. If they needed first aid, it was minor. If they had to see a nurse or doctor, it's moderate. Hospital ER is severe, and death. In my case, we went to the hospital. Next, you will note down the body parts affected. You can click on the drop-down list and find your body part affected. Or, to the right, you have your body diagram. When you click on body diagram, you'll get another window that opens up, and you can then hover your mouse over the affected body part and click. In my case, this occurred on her left knee. Once you click a body part, it'll populate here. And you can click done. Once you select the body part on the body diagram, it'll populate it for you in the drop-down box. Next, you have injury summary. This is where you'll go ahead and enter your information on your event and let the system and Far Northern know what happened. Please note, if you turned off your witness in your super role, you have the option of adding any witnesses within the injury summary. Once I enter my injury summary, lastly, I have the option of attaching an injury photo. And when you're done, you can click Add at the bottom. Your injury information will then populate on your SIR for your review. If you need to make a change or edit, you can click at the word Edit at the very top. As you can see, I have the option of adding multiple events. So for example, if not only she received a cut on her knee, but also a bruise on her hand, I can go ahead and click Injury and now add the bruise. In my case, this resulted in a hospitalization, so I want to click Other. Here, I can add my event type. When you choose an event type, it will then populate a subtype. So after I chose hospital, it will ask me whether this was an admission or just an ER visit. It will then ask me for a department. So whether this was medical, a voluntary psychiatric, or an involuntary psychiatric visit. In my case, it was medical. You can then enter the event time for this hospitalization. If you wish to add any more information to this hospitalization, you can do so within the event summary. Since I added all my information in the injury summary, I don't need to add any extra here. And once I'm done, I can click Add. It will then populate that information onto my SIR for me. If I scroll up, I still have my injury, but I also have my hospitalization. Keep in mind that you can add as many events as necessary. Next, I will get into my general information section. Please note that this entire section is mandatory. You need to answer every question here. First, it will ask me whether abuse, neglect, or exploitation were suspected. Please note, if you answered yes, you will need to also note down the type. Next, you have notification level. This plays a major part in your SIRs. Please note, if this is an SIR, then you will want to mark this as high. This will flag regional centers that they need to look at this. If you have any regional center reportable but non-SIR incidents, you can mark these as medium, as that will flag over to regional center as well. As stated at the beginning of this call, this was a free tool provided to all regional center vendors. You are more than welcome to use this to keep track of your own internal incidents that are non-SIRs in order to take advantage of Therap's reporting capabilities, but you will want to make sure that you mark any internal reports as low. Please keep in mind that this is an option and not required by Far Northern. If you simply wish to send SIRs to Far Northern Regional Center, you can just make sure you always mark them as high. Next, you will have reported by. If this wasn't observed by you and reported to you by somebody else, you can go ahead and choose a name from all your users in your system. If this was reported to you by family, you can choose Other at the bottom and then enter their name here. Then you have the reporter's relationship to the individual. In my case, I saw this happen, therefore I'm the staff. Next, you have notifications. Here is where you will note down on your SIR who you notified of this incident. Now, please keep in mind that nothing has changed regarding the policies and procedures of how you notify Regional Center of an SIR. The only thing that is changing is how you submit the SIR to. You still need to notify Regional Center within 24 hours of any incident, and you will need to note down who you notified within the SIR. Here, you can click Add Notification Info. Now you will tell the system who you notified. So if I notified Joshua Service Coordinator, I can note that there. Under Entity, you can choose either Case Manager or go to Other and manually type in Service Coordinator. Then you have the date and time that you notified them. Who notified them, and how they notified them. Once you're done, you can click Add, and their information will populate on the SIR. Please note you will want to enter here all entities notified. So if you contacted family, other agencies that provide services such as group home or day program, community care licensing, law enforcement, etc., you can enter as many notifications as needed. Next, we have the state-specific information. Now, as Via stated at the beginning of this call, we also have a contract with DDS, and Therap is mandated across all the 5 closing developmental centers in California. They've asked us for more information, so they have the California initial form and California follow-up form. Please note that you guys do not need to complete this. This is only for the 5 developmental centers. The only time you will need to enter anything here is if you have a med error. The California medication error form is your far northern medication error form that you're already familiar and used to filling out. If you had a med error, you can go ahead and click med error form and fill that form out. Next, you have actions taken or planned. You can enter any corrective actions taken. In my case, it would possibly be remove the piece of loose carpeting that was there and replace it temporarily. And you have plan of future corrective actions, which is what are you going to do to prevent this from happening again. So if I'm going to replace my carpet, or if I'm going to repaste that piece of carpet, I can go ahead and enter that information here. Next, I have my review follow-up comments. If you have the review role, which we talked about in the super role, you have the option of clicking that you have reviewed this report. Lastly, You have the option of attaching external attachments to this SIR. So if you wanted to include hospital discharge papers or something of that nature, you can do so here. At the bottom, you will have three options. Save means that you're partway done with it and going to come back to it later. Submit means that you want to submit this for somebody's approval within your agency. Approve means you are done with it and ready to send it off to Far Northern Regional Center. Please note that as soon as you approve this, assume that Far Northern Regional Center already has it in their hands. When you click approve, you will get a message that your SIR has been successfully approved. Please note that this submission is only for Far Northern Regional Center. If you still need a copy of this to send to community care licensing, group homes, day programs, families, you have the option of the Therap incident report. You can print off the Therap incident report either with images or without images. Since I did not take any or include any images, I can click on the one without images. This will open it up as a PDF for you to be able to print. Since we are in test mode, it is letting me know we are in test mode. Once done, we can go back to our dashboard. Once an SIR has been approved, it will move into our to-do tab for 15 days. Here, you will see that I have the follow-up section. All SIRs will appear as a follow-up for 15 days after an incident. Here, I can engage in a conversation with my service coordinator if they wish for more information. When you click follow-up, you'll see all the ones that you've completed. Here, I'll click on the one I did today. I will see who entered it, who approved it, and I can also see that Joshua's service coordinator has already updated this. I can now scroll down. Here in my review follow-up comments, I can see where I approved it with my date and timestamp. Then you will see the name, title, and timestamp, along with comments from Far Northern Regional Center. Since my service coordinator requested more information, I can come into the follow-up comments and provide them with more information. I can then come in and click Save. This will add my comments back to my SIR and service coordinators will be able to see this. Now I can come ahead and go back to my dashboard. This is the SIR process in its entirety. Lastly, I wanted to show you guys how to set up your system to receive notifications of SIRs. So you can, if you wish to have a submission within your agency, you can receive a notification when an SIR has been submitted for your approval. Or you can also set up notifications for when service coordinators follow up on an SIR. In order to do that, you will need to get out of test mode. You can click on your settings tab and under test mode, we can go off. You will now see your system went back into the original blue and you no longer have test mode at the top. The first thing we need to do is tell the system you wish to receive notifications. Here in our settings tab, you will see personal details. You can then click edit. In your personal details, you will see the preference section. You want to make sure you check off the enable notification box. Once you do that, you can click save. Please note, in order for these changes to take effect, you will need to log out of the system and back in. Once you're back in the system, on your dashboard, you have two options. If you wish to create a default profile, meaning you want to assign the same notifications to multiple people, you can do so in your system. You will want to go to your admin tab. In your admin tab, just below super role, you will see default notification profile. Here, you can click configure, and you will see that I already have one in the system. If not, you can just create new. You'll want to give this a name, along with a description. Then click save. Once you get your message that your profile is saved, you can go back to your list, and here you will see it. Now you can configure to the right. When you click configure, it will take you to all the modules in the system. We only need to worry about general event reports, as these are our SIRs. Here, you can tell the system what events you want to be notified for. If you wish to have people submit for your approval, you can get a notification when an SIR was submitted. In my case, I'm the only one submitting SIRs for my agency, so I only want to know when the service coordinator has followed up. So I can say yes. Next, you can select your media. We currently have two ways for you to receive a notification. You can either receive it via email, or you can receive it via pager email, which is our fancy way of saying text message. Then you can note down for each type, what do you want to be notified about? If you're only interested in SIRs, you can choose high. If you're interested in all SIRs and regional center reportable events, you can choose high medium. Or if you want to see all, you can choose high, medium, low. Don't forget, if you wish to view abuse, neglect, exploitation incidents, you'll want to say yes here as well. Once you've chosen your media, you can scroll to the bottom and click Save. You will then get a message that your configuration was successfully saved. Now we can apply this. We want to go to our dashboard. In our dashboard, we will then go to our Settings tab. First, we need to tell the system how it's going to contact us. So we will want to go to Notification Information and click Configure. Here, you can enter your email. And if you wish to receive text message updates, you can enter your pager email here. Please note that this is not just your phone number, but rather your phone's email, and it is carrier specific. Since I have Sprint, my pager email is my phone number at messaging.sprintpcs.com. Once I'm done, I can click Save. Then I can go back to my dashboard. If I wish to apply a default notification profile to myself, I can go to Default Notification Profile, click Apply, and then apply the one I created by clicking the word Apply. I will then get a message that it was successfully completed. And now my system is set up to receive emails when a service coordinator has followed up on an incident. Here's a sample of an email you'll receive. Here, you will receive the form ID, the module name, which in our case is General Event Reports, the action name. If this was a follow-up, it would be as follow-up. The type, notification level, who generated it, and the provider code. It will also give you a link to log in to the system so you can view the follow-up. The last thing I wanted to go over today is how to get help when needed. At the bottom of every single page in the system, you will see these 4 buttons. The first is Help and Support. When you click on that, it will take you to our help and support site. Please note that it opens in a new tab in your browser, so you will not lose your work if you're currently in an SIR. We created a website dedicated to far northern vendors. To access it, you will want to go to the states under the banner, then choose California. On our California page, you will see the California Far Northern Regional Center link in green. When you click on that, it'll take you to our Far Northern website. This will contain all the information you need in order to create SIRs. Under Resources, you'll see all of our user guides, which will walk you through step-by-step with screenshots on anything you need to know within Therap. So if I forget how to do an SIR, I can come to the Create GER guide, and it'll walk me through step-by-step with screenshots. You'll also see a recorded webinar section. Here, we'll have videos on how to create a GER, how to follow up with Regional Center, how to set up notifications, how to enroll and admit your individuals. And you'll also find a copy of today's webinar here soon. If you still have trouble, you can click here under Contact Us, and we'd be more than happy to assist you. Back in the system, at the bottom of every page, we also have our Live Help section. This will connect you one-on-one with a member of Therap support, and we can help you here as well. When you click on Live Help, you'll see that we're online in green. Once you click on that, we'll ask you to enter the subject of what you're writing in for. Please note that we will best be able to serve you if you let us know that you are with Far Northern Regional Center. Once we see that you are with Far Northern Regional Center, our agents will be able to better assist. You will then be taken to a window where you can chat with a member of our support team. It will tell you that it's searching, and once you connect, it'll tell you who you're connected to, and they will say hello to you. Please remember to note you are with Far Northern Regional Center. That way, our agents know how to best assist you. Once done, you can click Disconnect up at the top. And also note that your chat box opens in another window, so you can continue to work in the system at the same time, then switch back to your Live Help.
If at any time you guys have questions, you can reach out to us by clicking Contact Us on the Far Northern Regional Center page.